Well, hello. Good afternoon. My name is Michael Lane, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager for WorkBC in Victoria. Welcome to WorkBC Live. Today, I'm going to be speaking to you about the nature of WorkBC, the program, how it functions, how you can take advantage of WorkBC and get all the assistance and support available through this powerful employment services program to help you get back to the work that you want for yourself. Today, we're also going to be speaking specifically about career planning and career development. November is Canada Career Month. And so in honor of that, we're going to start off today talking a little bit about specifically some of the employment counseling services and career decision-making support that's available through WorkBC. I should begin by saying that my pronouns are he and him, and I am grateful to be speaking to you today from the traditional and unceded territories of the Wasanich Nations. Haichka. WorkBC is the province of British Columbia's free employment services program. Everyone in the province, as long as they're working, pays taxes, and these taxes go towards all sorts of services. One of those very powerful services is the WorkBC program. WorkBC exists in every community across the province. Whichever town you're in, whether you're in Cranbrook, whether you're in Haida Gwaii, whether you're in Prince Rupert, whether you're in Kelowna, whether you're in Victoria, there is a WorkBC Centre. And each one of these centres is filled with career development professionals who are there to support you with whatever your needs are in terms of job search. For some folks, that is, hey, can you please take a look at my resume and let me know what I need to change because I'm just not getting enough callbacks from employers. In some cases, it's people coming in who don't know what they want to do for a career. Maybe they've lost their job and they need to reconsider. Maybe they're recovering from an injury or illness and they need to move in a different direction. Whatever your needs are, if you are unemployed or if you're underemployed, which means that you're working part-time or you're working maybe even close to full-time, but your wages aren't enough for you to be able to support yourself, you can visit your local WorkBC Centre and get access to all of these powerful supports that I'm just going to speak about now. WorkBC provides self-serve supports and case-managed supports. Self-serve supports are you being able to come into the center and utilize our resource rooms to work on your resume, to apply for jobs, to talk to an employment services professional about what kind of jobs are available in the community. How does my cover letter look? Can you help me with making some photocopies? Can you help me with emailing this resume to this employer or assist me with this online application? Okay, those are self-serve services, and anyone across the province, literally whether you've landed on the plane that day from South Korea, you can walk into the center and gain access to those services. Those services are available to any resident of British Columbia. However, I don't think that people who come in to utilize the self-serve services are doing themselves any favor. Especially now where eligibility for the services has just been expanded and expanded to where, as I said, somebody working nearly full-time hours at a minimum wage job may be able to make a case that they need case management and employment services support. People need to be accessing case managed services. Let me talk to you about case managed services. Registering for case managed services means going online to apply.workbc.ca, completing the online application form, indicating that you're looking for case managed services and not self-serve services, and then you'll be contacted by our centers and scheduled for a needs assessment. Inside of the needs assessment, a very friendly, knowledgeable employment services professional will guide you through a series of questions trying to ascertain what are your needs? Where are you at? What do you feel like is preventing you from being able to find work? What sort of work are you looking for? Based on that information, we then move on to a one-to-one case management relationship where the case manager will go really in depth into what are those hurdles that you feel like are presenting themselves to you. And then, and this is really, really important, what is your plan going to look like? WorkBC is not a cookie cutter program. When I'm out in the community and giving in-person or virtual orientations like this, too often people have this assumption that government-funded employment services are only for people who are chronically unemployed, who are maybe receiving income assistance, or who are, on unemployment insurance, okay? And that is just not the case, okay? We certainly provide services to those people, but we provide services to everybody. And I have to tell you, as somebody who's worked in the field for a very long time, one of the most rewarding aspects of the work is being able to meet with so many different people. Okay, I had mornings when I was case managing where my 9 o'clock appointment might be somebody who has only just secured housing, who was previously homeless, who's recovering from addiction, and who is finally at a place where they are able to consider what re-entry into the labor market is going to look like. And then my 10:30 appointment is someone coming in who's moved from another city. Maybe they're here from Winnipeg because their husband got a job in town and they have a master's degree in social work and they don't know how to connect with the local community organizations that might hire someone with those credentials. So you can see how my day can look real different depending on who I'm talking to. But I talk to everybody. I talk to folks on employment insurance. I talk to folks who are receiving disability supports. I talk to folks who have just been home, maybe taking care of an elderly parent for the last number of years, and now they need to go back to work. I talk to lots of folks who have been on employment insurance, maybe for mat leaves or for sickness leaves, and now they're looking to re-enter the workforce, but maybe that position that they had isn't there for them anymore. The role of being a career development professional, an employment services professional, is incredibly rewarding. I get to meet with people who are going through very difficult, challenging times of their lives. Being unemployed is a lonely, isolating, depressing place in your life. And for any of the thousands and thousands of viewers who are watching me here today, any of you out there that are feeling that way right now, I really want to encourage you to take advantage of what WorkBC has to offer. You do not have to go through this alone. There's an entire family of folks in your local WorkBC Centre that will support you through this time in your life, okay? You can have frank and honest and open conversations about the impact that your unemployment has had on you in your life. And you can't always have those conversations with the people in your life. I've talked to lots of husbands and wives who don't feel comfortable sharing with their spouse. They don't want to talk to their kids about it. They're embarrassed to talk to their friends about it. That's why you get yourself an employment counselor, a free certified employment counselor who is going to provide you with a guiding force, a relationship, someone to walk alongside of you on your path towards employment, whatever that looks like. That's another thing that people think sometimes about WorkBC, is that we're just here to get people sort of back to work as soon as possible. Nice to meet you. There's a job at McDonald's. Let's send them your resume and get you working there tomorrow. Okay. That's not going to work for many people at all, actually. Occasionally we get folks come in who just literally, I need a job tomorrow. How quickly can you get me a job in construction? Really quickly. If you're looking for work in construction, there's a lot of opportunities right now. But more often, honestly, these are long-term relationships. This is a lot of assessment and conversation about what kind of work makes sense for you right now. The exciting thing is that in this current labor market, wow, there are a lot of opportunities. Across the province of British Columbia, the economy has bounced right back. I know there are communities that are still experiencing higher unemployment rates. But wow, when you get down into the lower mainland or on the island or in the interior, some of the bigger cities are seeing, 4.5% unemployment. In Victoria, it's 4.2%. And, what that means is that almost everybody who can work is working. And for folks that are not working, you're in a very interesting position, aren't you? There's suddenly a lot of opportunities that could be available to you. And what you need is, again, that case manager. You need that employment counselor. You need that employment services professional who's going to let you know what opportunities are out there right now. Not just what's listed on the Indeed job posting site or Google Jobs or wherever you look for job postings. Okay. You need labor market information. You need to know what industries are hiring right now, because it's not necessarily about finding a job as quickly as possible. It's about building a career for yourself. Mike, how am I going to translate my skills into employment that's going to keep me sustainably employed for a long period of time? I need security. I need stability. Okay. That's the conversation that we like to have with people. Now, I mentioned earlier that in that conversation, we're going to try and develop a plan. And wow, everyone's plan looks very, very different. Because of the amount of services we have to offer, when you are maybe passing in the halls with someone else who's accessing the services at your WorkBC Centre, guaranteed they will be on a slightly different sort of menu of items than you're on. Let's talk about some of the things we can do. So as a case managed client, we can, first of all, talk about just your job search. We can review your resume. We can assist you with rebuilding your resume. We can talk about different formats. We can assist you with crafting cover letters. We can talk to you about where the jobs are in town, how to best apply. We can coach you through going through an online application system that is frustrating you a little bit. For folks that don't know what they want to do with their lives right now, and I'm going to talk more about this later, we can conduct all sorts of assessments and testing to help you, not find out for you, but help you figure out what is the best career for you. And then once we have that identified, then it's back to, okay, does the resume and cover letter, is that going to be enough to get you the job? Or do you need to upgrade your skills? If we've uncovered what your career goal is, but you can't achieve that goal with your current skills, then we can take a look at upgrading those skills. Okay. We have funding available through the WorkBC program to support people in getting the training that they need in order to be considered for those positions. Ideally, we like that training to be on the job training. There's a very powerful program that we have available to us called Wage Subsidy. Wage subsidy means that you could go to that employer that you really want to work for, and as nervous as you are about how your resume might not have the qualifications that they're looking for, you might not have the experience that they're looking for, you can make the case with them. You can show them the physical letter if you want, or hand it in maybe with your online application, letting them know that you're eligible for wage subsidy. So if the employer is willing to consider you, even with your lack of credentials, less experience, we can subsidize your employment with that employer. We can pay for up to half of your wages for up to the first 6 months of the job. Think about that. What employer doesn't want to save money? Here's an opportunity for them to take a chance on somebody who they like. They've met with you, they like you, they're considering you, they're hemming and hawing about maybe your lack of experience or certification. But if they take a chance on you, we can pay for half of your wages for the first 6 months. They can use that money to invest in your training, get you the skills on the job, so that after 6 months, they're very comfortable with paying you the full wage because they've been able to have that 6-month period to bring you up to speed and train you the way that they want to train you, which is so often the case with employers. Employers will take lots of people who have completed schooling and then say, okay, well, that's great that you completed that course, but I want to train you my way. Well, here's a way that we can pay them to train you their way. Wage subsidy is an incredibly powerful tool. However, there are cases where clients that we're working with go out with the wage subsidy and the resume and the cover letter, and they're still unable to find work. And in those cases where the message coming back from the employers is just, it's a hard no. I'm sorry, we like you, but we are going to pass on you because you just do not have this required certification. Well, guess what? We can pay for people to gain that certification. We have funding available to us to pay for people to return to school to complete either a short certificate or a longer term certificate, maybe even up to a year in length. And when I say that we will pay for you to complete that, I'm talking about we will pay the tuition, we will pay the books, we will pay the supplies, we will pay your transportation back and forth to school, we'll pay your living supports while you're in school, and we'll even pay your childcare while you're in school. And guess how much you have to pay back? Zero. You pay back nothing. This is the province's investment in having a skilled and employed workforce. I make it sound really great. It's not for everyone. I know that if I had the opportunity to go back to school right now, I would not be going. I did school a very long time ago. I am not interested in going back to school until I absolutely have to. But in those cases where you are unemployed and you absolutely have to because that's what the employers are telling you, well, then this could be the tool for you. It's not available to everybody right off the hop. Please don't come down to your WorkBC Centre and say, hey, Mike told me that you guys would send me back to school to be an LPN. That's not the case. However, it is a tool that we can use in cases where we have evidence that it's going to be necessary in order to get you back to work. Nobody wants to see you banging your head up against the wall 6 months later with the same resume and the same wage subsidy letter and not getting anywhere. We will take steps. Another step that we can take for folks that maybe don't want to return to school, but maybe they have a business idea. There's lots of people that we meet every day who have been in their career for enough years to have garnered the experience and the skills required to hang out their own shingle and go into business for themselves. Now, it's a small percentage of our clients. Self-employment is not for everybody. It's risky, it's scary, it requires investment on your part, However, for those folks who do have it within them to pursue that entrepreneurial lifestyle, we can support it. Okay, the person that comes to us, and again, they can't just get back to work with their current skill set. We need to consider either training or self-employment, and they have a good business idea and they have the skills to back it up. And crucially, they can get their hands on some startup capital because unfortunately we can't pay for that. But if you've got that stuff and you're ready to go, we will put you into our self-employment program, which includes a paid period of time for you to write your business plan with the coaching and support of self-employment professionals. And then when your business plan is approved, we review it. Does this look like a good idea? We've invested in this person to complete their business plan. Does it look good? It does. Okay. Now we're going to give you an additional 35 weeks for you to start your business. 35 weeks for you to hang out your shingle. I'm in business. Business cards around town, advertising goes out, you start taking clients. The entire time you're in the program, we are paying you living support allowance so that the hydro is paid, the food is bought, the rent is paid, and then what money you receive from the start of your business, you keep. The idea being that you're not just going to bank that, you're probably going to invest that first drips and drabs of income that come in back into the business. Okay. You're going to buy more supplies. You're going to buy more equipment. You're going to hire somebody on. You're going to pay for more advertising, right? Businesses fail inside of the first year at an alarming rate. And it's because there's not a lot of money that comes in initially. And that money that does come in, people are trying to, pay for their childcare and put groceries on the table out of that money. And they're not able to reinvest back into the business to build it and keep it afloat. And that's where the self-employment program is really, really powerful. Okay. You get that safety net of basic income coming in so that you can focus on just your business. You're not tempted to take a job or give it up because you just can't make ends meet. Okay. And really an important part of the program as well is mentorship. So we can support you with community mentors and program professionals to assist with. Maybe you're really good at the marketing side of it, but you don't know how to do your taxes. Maybe you know how to do your taxes, but you don't know how to handle having 3 staff members and you need some HR help. We can step in all those places and provide that kind of support. So the self-employment program, another really powerful tool that we have to offer. And you can see where the idea behind WorkBC is you're going to be able to come in, you're going to be able to state your case, let us know who you are, what your goals are, and then we go into problem-solving mode, okay? Can we put you in some workshops and do some one-on-one coaching with you to get you back to work? Great. No? Can we use the wage subsidy to get you back to work? Great. No? How can we make an investment into your skills so that you can be self-sustaining, okay? Either through getting certification so that you can go and get that work that you need, or perhaps through self-employment, okay? There's another really powerful tool. We have lots of tools. Honestly, man, my toolbox is like 80 pounds here beside me. I can't even lift it off the ground. It's so full of tools. Folks that come to us who are either on persons with disability status with the province, or they have a self-disclosed disability, okay? We have a really powerful suite of programs to support those people. We can enter into something called discovery with somebody who is experiencing a disability that presents a significant hurdle to them getting back to work. And I mean any kind of disability. I'm not just talking about the person in the wheelchair that we sort of traditionally think of when we think of someone with a disability. I mean people who are deaf and hard of hearing, people with vision issues, people with mental health concerns, and people with developmental delays that have made it really challenging for them to gain employment for themselves. Okay, we have a really powerful suite of tools to support those folks. Okay, I mentioned Discovery earlier. Discovery is like a mega version of that needs assessment that takes place when you first present yourself to WorkBC. Discovery is a really thorough examination about what this person's entire life looks like, what their support network is, what is the nature of their disability? Do we have everything fully diagnosed? Do we have reports from medical professionals to let us know what needs to be done in order for this person to get back to work? And what is an appropriate work goal? We never want to set anybody up for failure. We never want anybody to be put in a position where suddenly they're in a job and they don't have the support they need in order to succeed. Because what's going to happen is you're going to lose that job and you're going to feel even worse. And that's our nightmare scenario. We do not want that to happen. Okay, so there's a lot of supports built in. From the discovery, we would then go into job development or customized employment development. Job development where we might connect with employers on your behalf and present you to the employer for you and say, we have this wonderful client who can do A, B, C, D, and E. They're going to need some help on the job with making adaptive equipment available for their disability, but this is someone that we have for you. And then convincing the employer to hopefully give you a chance. Or in the case where the disability presents such a significant barrier to employment that there is no fulsome job description that can be completed by that person, we can go into what's called customized employment development, where we would negotiate with the employer, again, on your behalf, we do this for you. How can we carve a job from this larger job? Okay, what duties of this position can this person complete in a day? And then can we just build a maybe part-time, maybe casual on call, maybe full-time position just around these duties that this person can do. And then when we've negotiated that with the employer, then you're off to work, and you're responsible for duties that we've established through assessment, through relationship building, through negotiation with the employer, through conversations with you, that you're going to be able to succeed at doing these things. And then you're working. And you're enjoying all of the wonderful things that come with working. You're building relationships with your coworkers. You're telling your neighbor down the street that you're on your way to work. You're paying taxes. Such a great feeling to pay taxes. You know, when you're not working, you're missing out on such a huge part of the human social animal experience. You know, I've had really sad conversations with clients over the years who aren't working and feel like they have lost their purpose and they've lost their place in society, you know, and that's what work is. And for a lot of us, that's full-time work because maybe we live in cities in British Columbia where it's very expensive to live and we need lots of money, you know, but in a lot of cases, it's maybe a part-time job or a casual job. It's something more than you have now. Some place to express yourself and utilize your skills and be paid for it. You know, volunteering is great, but man, there's a lot of employment opportunities out there. And I really hope that, again, any of you listening, you know, if you have doubts about what might be available for you, there has never been a better time in the history of British Columbia to find out what could be available for you. Employers are eager to hire. They are willing to be flexible. They are willing to be creative. They have work that needs to be done, and there are not enough people to do that work. So you're going to come down to your local WorkBC Centre, or probably call, or go to that website, apply.workbc.ca, and start with an online registration application, okay? And get yourself connected with these services. Now, I want to talk to you specifically about, I've danced around it a lot, and I've brought it up at a number of different places over this, you know, sort of soliloquy of mine today. And I haven't mentioned, I'm sure that of the thousands of you out there are just peppering the chat right now with questions. And, you know, I'm hoping that Michelle Monroe, who's my tech support in the background. Hi, Michelle. Thanks, Michelle. Will be able to get some of those questions to me in case I can answer them for you. But I want to take a little bit of time and talk about career planning. So as I said in the beginning, November is Canada Career Month. And, you know, Canada deserves a career month because, as I've said again and again throughout this conversation, work is important. You know, work is important. But critically, there's a difference between a job and a career. And I've heard so many clients say that to me over the years. You know, the client that comes in that shows me their resume and says, Mike, look at my resume. That. Those were jobs, you know? And yeah, I need a job right now, but I want a career. You know, what does career mean? Career means that you are sharing yourself, that you're utilizing your whole self, you know, that you're not just breaking your back, that your brain isn't sort of shut off while you're working, that you're thinking, that you're able to be creative, that you're using your social skills and your problem solving skills and your knowledge and your experience. And it's a really like it's a whole body experience. I make it sound like it's a whole body workout. It's a whole spirit experience. How about that? You know, that's what a career can be. And we want to honor that this month. And I want to tell you now about some of the things that we can do to support you in figuring out what kind of career makes sense for you. When you're sitting down with an employment counselor, the employment counselor can one-on-one with you complete a number of really, really valuable personality trait testing, values testing, you know, review those tests with you and look at what some of the responses are. You know, what is your personality type and what does that say about what kind of career might make the most sense for you? You know, there's a lot of different ways to look at career development theory, and our employment counselors are trained in career development theory. You know, from values testing to personality trait factor to planned happenstance to you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's a lot of you know, technical lingo around this, and a lot of different ways to look at building your career. And it depends on you and the lens through which you view yourself and your values and what's important to you and what you need to receive back from a career critically. That testing can be done one-on-one. that testing can be done in a group. We have wonderful career development workshops. And I have to tell you, to tell my own story, once upon a time, a long time ago, 1998, I was unemployed in Victoria. And I got to visit a place called Steps to Employment. It was at the time on Fort Street. And I went upstairs there. And for 2 weeks, I went every day to an all-day career decision-making and job search program. And I didn't want to go. I was nervous to go. I didn't really have high expectations about what I would get out of it. And in the end, I got a great job out of it. But the most valuable thing that I got out of it was the first day in the class, meeting the other people in the room and realizing that I wasn't alone. Because up until that point, it had just been me in my bathrobe, in my living room, with my laptop open, sad, looking for jobs and feeling hopeless about it and feeling like a total loser and feeling like I must be the only person in the world who can't find work for himself. And instead, I walk into this classroom and I'm surrounded by all sorts of interesting, smart, educated, skilled, experienced people who, for whatever reason, and there's a multitude of reasons, had gone off track a bit and we're trying to get back on track. And it was such a powerful experience for me. Well, it was such a powerful experience for me that I pursued a career in employment counseling. I wanted to be able to give back to somebody else what I felt had been given to me. And that was hope and direction and self-confidence and having a better idea of who I was and what my place in the world might be. And that's what we can offer to you. You can connect with us and we will support you in trying to figure that out. Okay. In some cases, I will say, it's more than just figuring out your personality type and deciding on whether it's more important for you to make lots of money or to have 9 to 5 working hours with 4 weeks vacation a year. In some cases, there are, again, going back to persons with disabilities, there are sometimes really significant questions that need to be answered around what kind of work is going to be suitable for you. That person who's in a wheelchair needs to consider something extra beyond just what their personality type might tell them about themselves. We're going to have to take a look at how that disability and how their physical impairment is going to require adaptation and flexibility from the employer and what kind of career is most likely to be able to do that for you. Okay, to that end, we can pay for very powerful assessments to be done. We can pay for people to complete psychovocational assessments with trained psychologists. This is like a 16-page report that we receive, that the employment counselor receives at the end of the assessment, that there's a real serious breakdown about your personality type, what your educational background is, how successful were you in school, what is your learning style, all of this. It's a super, super in-depth breakdown of what you're going to need in order to decide a career for yourself. We can do neuropsychological assessments, again, with a psychologist to determine whether there is the presence of a learning disability or whether your mental health concern, what is the nature of it, first of all, and then second of all, how that's going to impact your ability to find and keep work. And in the cases of a physical disability or recovery from an injury, we can pay for a functional capacity assessment that is carefully done over a couple of days, gently assessing what your range of motion is, what your strengths are, how long can you perform tasks of this type or that type. And then again, big fat report comes back to us that we study carefully and with you, look at the results of that assessment and see what that's going to tell us about what direction we need to go in. There's a lot we can do. There's a lot we could do. There's stuff that I haven't told you about. I haven't told you yet that if you contacted us on a Thursday for the first time and said, hey, I just got offered a job by so-and-so traffic control, and they need me to show up for work next week with steel-toed boots and a hard hat and a high-vis safety vest, and I don't know where to get that stuff, and I can't pay for it because I've been unemployed and I don't have extra money to pay for that stuff. We can pay for it. So we'll invite you in, or we'll have a video call, and we will have a conversation with you about the job. Can you prove that you've got the job? And then what are you going to need for the job? And we will send you off with a voucher to get the materials that you need to start that job. You can show the voucher and then walk out of the store with the boots and the hard hat and the safety vest, and you keep that stuff. We didn't loan it to you. We're not asking for it to come back to us in 3 months so that we can give it to somebody else. That's yours. You keep that. That's, again, the investment of the province of British Columbia in your success. Okay. We have a lot of funding available to us. We have a lot of powerful tools available to us. We love meeting people who are at a crossroads in their life and have uncertainty about what direction they can go in right now. I know it's a really desperate, lonely, scary place for somebody to be in, but like selfishly, from our point of view as the employment counselor, that's where the most rewarding work is done. Okay. Employment counselors don't become employment counselors so they can make $100,000 a year. Nobody makes $100,000 a year doing this job. We do this job because on Friday, at the end of the week, I can come home and I can look in the mirror in my entranceway and I can say to myself, I helped this week. I was part of the solution. I supported the people in my community with creating better situations for themselves. And it feels really freaking good to do that. And so that's why we want to meet with you. We want you to come in and tell us your scary story, okay? Because we want to be part of the solution. We want to see you take steps. We want to celebrate your successes. We want to be able to be there when you're having concerns, questions, uncertainty, issues, how can we help you problem solve that? That's why we do the work. So we don't have enough clients. The whole reason we're doing these Facebook Lives is because our WorkBC Centres in Victoria, in Saanich, in Nanaimo, in Mission and Abbotsford, across the South Okanagan and Penticton and Summerland and I'm going to get these wrong, Princeton, we do not have enough clients. We want to support you. There are jobs out there. There are opportunities that are going unfilled right now. And meanwhile, there's you who's maybe at home and trying to figure this out on your own. Please take advantage of WorkBC and give us a call. Try the online application system. At the end of this presentation, there's going to be all the contact information for all the centers that I mentioned. If anybody's tuning in right now who's outside of those cities that I just mentioned, welcome, first of all. And I want to assure you that the WorkBC Centre in Vernon does exactly what I just described. Every single service, every single program, the experience of seeing somebody is going to be the same in Vernon. It's going to be the same in Karameus. It's going to be the same in Kamloops as it is in the communities that I mentioned today. So please reach out to your local WorkBC Centre and get help today. And now I think I have some questions. Let me see what we have. I'm going to look at the questions. Question. All right, here we go. Would they pay for school tuition in order to proceed to self-employment program? Would that be a plan? That probably wouldn't be the plan from the get-go. But I'll tell you, we have had scenarios where a client has completed training, and when we assessed that the training was a good goal and that the program that they were going into was a good program, maybe by the time they complete the program, the landscape has changed. The labor market can shift sometimes like that. And in that case, where suddenly you've completed the training that we've funded and you're holding a piece of paper in your hand that doesn't have value anymore, okay, absolutely. It's not like you're done. We don't wave bye-bye when you go to school. and say, good luck, see you later, nice meeting you. We're going to keep in contact with you the entire time you're in school. We're going to talk to you once you're done school and say, okay, now what do you need from us with your new piece of paper in order to get to work? Okay, do you need to use the wage subsidy program? Because at that point, you're a classic client with like fresh skills right out of school, but no experience, right? Perfect example of when to use wage subsidy. So maybe the wage subsidy will help to convince that employer to give you a chance with your fresh new certificate or diploma. Okay, but yes, to your question, if you were to find yourself in a position where there's not an employment opportunity that makes sense for you with that piece of paper in your hand, we can move on to the self-employment program as another option. You have not precluded that being available to you by pursuing training. It's not an either or, Similarly, we've helped clients with training. They go off and do training, and then 3 years they come back to us because maybe their life circumstances have changed somehow. Maybe sadly they've, uncovered a hidden disability, or they've had an injury that prevents them from doing that work anymore. And we take you right back in. Big hug, welcome back. Now what can we do? Maybe self-employment's an option. So yes, it's probably not the plan from the get-go, but it could become the plan. Next question. I currently have a job, the person says, that is going to wind down in Q1 2022. Can I speak to a career counselor now, or do you need to wait until I'm unemployed? Excellent question. So I said early on that anybody who is unemployed or underemployed is eligible to apply for case management and get support. That includes people that are working full-time. If they have a set layoff date, okay, the minute that you receive a letter from your employer saying that you're going to be laid off due to whatever at the end of December, God, that'd be a sad way to end the year. But if you had that letter, that's enough. That's all you need. You have notice that your job is going to come to an end. That's the day that you can contact WorkBC and say, okay, I need help. Because at that point, you're considered unemployed. You no longer have the promise of long-term gainful employment. And so that's when you get a hold of us. Now, recognize, if you're still working full-time up until that date, it's going to be challenging to navigate the employment services experience, right? Because you're working. And our work hours are Monday to Friday, sort of during normal work hours. So we have to be creative about when we can deliver services to you while you're still working. But, we'll do our best and you do your best, and we meet somewhere in the middle and try and get you what you need. That was a good question. Next question. I have a question on behalf of my self-employed friend who owns a barbershop. They've been winging it so far, but can they access the self-employment tools as well? If so, what's the first step? Ooh, that becomes tricky. That does become tricky. If you are operating a business, then you're not eligible for case management services. You'd need to make the case that your business has essentially ended, that you're no longer in business in order to, as the government sees it, to transition from being a business owner to being an employee. That's really the transition that the province needs to view, and we need to view in assessing your application. Yeah. So that person winging a barbershop right now, probably having a heck of a time trying to find any help. It's probably a really challenging experience for that person. But until they're ready to hang out the closed sign, they're not eligible for services. I should say as well, in case someone else asks this question further along, if you're a full-time student, there's lots of full-time students who are in college programs or even finishing high school, and they need money. They need help with finding a job. When you're in school full-time, it is the expectation of the province and of WorkBC that you are a student and devoting your time to completing your studies. You're eligible to come in and get support through the self-serve services that I mentioned earlier. We'll still help with your resume. We'll still let you know where the jobs are around town. But accessing these sort of longer term, more powerful services and entering into a case management relationship, that can't happen until your school is over, or in the case of high school, if you're in the last year of your program and you don't have a plan to immediately enter into school again at the end of it. Okay, so important designation there. Let me see if there are any other questions. I got to scroll down a little bit. There was a comment made by someone. I believe you need an advanced program to help newcomers, in particular refugees, with getting to the labor market. So that is true. The scenario is probably based on that scenario that I mentioned earlier about someone coming, fresh off the plane from South Korea. That person who is a total newcomer to the city can absolutely come in and access self-serve services. Okay, they cannot access case management services. To access case management services, you need to be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident, or be this close to becoming a permanent resident. There's a specific application phase that you can be in where we can begin to provide service. But no, this is a really powerful, important point here. Thank you for bringing it up. If I made it sound too hopeful for somebody who has just recently landed in Canada and is trying to settle and orient themselves, we can support. We can do photocopies of your resume. We can let you know where the jobs are. But yes, case management services aren't available until you achieve either citizenship or permanent residency. So disappointing, but unfortunately, that's the case. Hey, Mike. Do you have any tool for newcomers from other countries with a good resume and experience? Again, that's the self-serve services. So like I just suggested, you can absolutely come down. We have staff in the centers who are very knowledgeable. In the centers that I mentioned earlier, sort of Victoria, Nanaimo, Mission, Abbotsford, South Okanagan, we call them labor market resource specialists. And these folks are labor market resource specialists. They know where the jobs are in town. They know what kind of programs, community organizations are available to support people. And they will support anyone who makes that online application and comes in to access service. So, WorkBC South Okanagan. Oh yes, thank you. Thank you. I will clarify in the South Okanagan. We have centers in Oliver, Penticton, Princeton, and Summerland. So Oliver was the one that I missed. Someone made a comment. I'd like to do peer support work at the hospital in Nanaimo. Great. Contact your local WorkBC Centre in Nanaimo. The contact information will come up at the end of this, and find out how we can help you with doing that. I don't know off the top of my head whether or not that's a paid role or a volunteer role. But we've supported lots of people with finding volunteering opportunities as well. In a lot of cases, when you're applying for volunteering, it's very similar to applying for a job. You're still going to need to, in some cases, do a criminal record check. You're going to need to submit an application, maybe even a resume. So yes, we can support with that. Someone responded back again about the barbershop answer. Thanks for doing all this, super helpful. I'm actually feeling better about perspectives. I was going to move out of province, but now I know there's options. You know what? Man, I hear you about moving out of province. I really do. As many employment opportunities as are available in British Columbia right now, and there's a lot. Like, the economy is booming. There are a lot of jobs out there. But man, it's an expensive province to live in. And I have conversations with employers all the time who come to me with the problem of recruitment. Mike, I can't find enough staff. Can you send your clients to work for us? And my response to so many of those employers is that until they're able to pay a living wage, they're going to continue to face these problems. And I empathize with the McDonald's manager who is sort of instructed from the powers that be that this is the wage for a McDonald's team member. And that's what the wage is. And they can't just throw another $5 an hour onto that wage, you know? But that's the solution. It's expensive to live in this province. And, you know, you are not alone. I think there's a lot of people that are considering what kind of opportunities are there in smaller towns where maybe the cost of living is lower, or maybe in other provinces. But don't give up without giving us a try and letting us try and support you with finding a home for your skills in British Columbia. I really hope you check us out. I don't see any other questions coming through, and we're at 12:52. This has been a real pleasure. I'm normally very shy and reserved. You can probably tell that about me. But it's been great talking to you today. And I am really proud of what WorkBC can offer. And I've seen it benefit a lot of people. I think that if there's a drawback with WorkBC, it can be a bureaucratic program. There's a lot of paperwork that needs to be filled out. There's a lot of steps that need to be completed to get to the next phase of your career services plan. But, you know, it's worth it. If you're willing to work at it and fill out the paperwork with us, it's worth it because it's a really powerful tool and not enough people take advantage of it. So with that, I think I'm going to sign off. Again, my name is Michael Lane. I'm the Community Engagement Manager for WorkBC in Victoria. I'm very pleased to be representing the WorkBC Centres in those cities that I mentioned, and really representing every WorkBC Centre across the entire province. They are all colleagues of ours, and we play nice in the sandbox. They're all doing a great job. So wherever you are in the province, if you're not already accessing WorkBC, give us a chance today. Thanks very much.